Good afternoon, friends, and thank you very much for being here on what is, of course, a holiday for all of us. I'm grateful to you for having spared the time to come here in this afternoon. What we will do today is that I have here with us, on my extreme right, Ms. Sujata Mehta, who is the Sherpa for the Prime Minister for the BRICS Summit. And along with her, on my right is Mr. Dinkar Khullar, who is Secretary West in the Ministry of External Affairs, and he handles issues relating, among other things, to Latin America. Given that the 6th BRICS Summit is to be held in Brazil, what we will do is I'll request Ms. Sujata Mehta, who is also Secretary Economic Relations, to tell us about our approach to BRICS. Following which, since the visit is also in Brazil, Mr. Dinkar Khullar will deal with the part relating to Latin America. After that, you can ask them questions on those two aspects. At the end of that, in case any of you are interested in on any other issues, I certainly will be willing to answer those questions. But we will go in sequence, that is BRICS, Latin America, and any other issues. With those opening remarks, I now request Secretary Economic Relations, Ms. Sujata Mehta, to make her opening remarks on the BRICS.
Thank you, Akbar. What I will do, if it's okay with you, is that I'll give you a little bit of background on the BRICS group, seeing that we are going into the BRICS summit next week. The summit is being arranged in Brazil on the 15th and 16th. Meetings will be in two venues, in Fortaleza, which is on the northeastern coast of Brazil, and then in Brasilia. The upcoming summit will be the 6th BRICS summit. In other words, it marks the start of the second cycle of BRICS meetings because each of the BRICS members has chaired it once, and with Brazil we start again. Typically, the way it works is that the country which hosts the summit chairs the group for the upcoming year. So they will be chairing this till the next summit in Russia next year. I'm sure you all know, but you won't mind if I repeat, that the word BRICS began as BRIC, a term coined by Goldman Sachs way back in 2001. The first meeting in the BRIC configuration happened in 2006 when the foreign ministers of the 4 BRIC countries met in New York on the margins of the UNGA that year. The first summit was held in 2009, and in 2010 it was felt that to give it a little more balance, to give the group a little more weight, Africa needed to be brought on board, and South Africa was invited to join. So in 2011, BRIC got enlarged into BRICS, and that's the present configuration that we see. BRICS is a tremendously important group in terms of its potential. We account for more than a quarter of the world's land mass, 40% of the world's population, and a combined GDP of US dollars 24 billion. It's an interesting group of countries politically. There are 3 declared aspirants for membership, permanent membership of the UN Security Council, 2 members who are permanent members of the Security Council. As a group, BRICS have natural resources, financial resources, and consumers to be able to generate demand so as to be able to give momentum to manufacturing, innovation, and technological advancement. The activities within BRICS as I said, are annual summits, but in addition to those summits, there is an ongoing cycle of activities in virtually 20 plus areas of activity. And each year, the summit declaration contains within it a very specific action plan, setting out what would be some of the things that BRICS members will be engaging in collectively in that year. This year, too, there will be a declaration. There will be the Fortaleza Declaration as far as we know now. The declaration is still under negotiation. It will be happening, in fact, over the next 5 days. Negotiations start tomorrow into Friday, by which time we hope to have wrapped it up. Immediately prior to the first summit day, which will be the 15th, there will be ministerial meetings on the 14th. The Brazilian hosts have invited, they've envisaged 3 different sets of high-level meetings on the 14th. In addition to that, there's a BRICS Business Forum. The BRICS Business Forum will be meeting on the 14th. We hope that there will be a significant presence of Indian business persons there. There's a body called the BRICS Business Council, which comprises 5 senior business persons from each BRICS member. So they will be meeting over the 14th, 15th. So in fact, there's a fair amount of activity that we expect over the next week or so till the summit on the 15th. The summit day on the 15th will comprise both a set of closed discussions when the leaders will sit and exchange views, in a sort of closed setting. After that, there will be an open session, and then I think there will be other side activities. On the 16th, the scene of action shifts to Brasilia, where the BRICS leaders are going to be meeting some leaders of South America. And at this point, I'm going to hand you over to Secretary Mr. Kuller, who is going to be giving us the background on the regional part. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujata. I would only add to the already heavy agenda by mentioning that on 16th, as part of the BRICS framework, which is actually Secretary ER's job, there is a meeting with all the South American countries. There is an agenda to President Rousseff has invited all the 11 other members of South America to have an interaction with the BRICS leaders, and PM will of course participate in this. Prior to that, PM will be having a bilateral meeting and a bilateral engagement with Brazil. This is an important aspect of our policy vis-a-vis the Latin American region, and we are taking this opportunity to enable PM to have a wide-ranging dialogue with leaders of the Latin American countries, well, South American countries in this case. In our case, with Brazil, for the record, the entire gamut of bilateral relations, including trade and investment, mining and energy, health, environment, S&T, technical cooperation, regional and multilateral issues will be discussed. As you all know, India and Brazil have a strategic partnership. Brazil is one of the most important trading partners of India in the Latin American region. Prime Minister's bilateral meeting with President Rousseff reflects the importance India attaches to its relations with Brazil. As I mentioned in the second session, which is on 16th, the Prime Minister, along with other BRICS leaders, will meet with South American leaders. We don't have the exact list of those who will come. The invitees of whom we understand many or most have accepted, include Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, Uruguay, and Venezuela. We believe that the first meeting of the Prime Minister with heads of government state of South America will further strengthen our already close bilateral relations with these countries and will actually be an opportunity to reinforce them. The Prime Minister, I think both Secretary ER and I can confirm, has shown great interest in having a dialogue, meeting the leaders of South America. Thank you.
The floor is now open for questions that you may have on either the BRICS or the Latin American component of our bilateral relations. So let me start with Mr. Venkat Narayan.
I understand that BRICS is now going to become BRICSA, with Argentina joining, and that China will host the BRICS Development Bank in Shanghai. Do you have anything to say about these two things? Thanks.
Before she answers, Mr. Venkat Narayan, only one question. So we choose if you ask more than one. And that's the record. That's the norm. Everybody who comes here will answer only one from one person. Yeah.
Shall I? Okay, I'll help you cheat. The answer to the first has been given by Akbar in the past. We have nothing to add to that. As far as the second is concerned, the matter relating to the BRICS Development Bank is still under negotiation. So you feel that there's certainty that it will be in Shanghai or anywhere else. I'm not aware of that. It's still under negotiation. Thank you.
Just to mention to you, we are having this briefing earlier because the Sherpa will be leaving today, and there's going to be a series of meetings prior to the summit, and these are the negotiations. So much of the outcomes will be determined during the negotiations, and therefore, if you ask us questions relating to the outcomes of the summit, those are only going to flow from the negotiations, and that's why we called you today. Yes, Manish?
Since you're not talking about outcomes, I'll ask you, from India's point of view, what are the deliverables we are looking at in terms of what are our priorities of the forthcoming? This marks the beginning of a new cycle.
From our point of view, the BRICS process is in itself of such symbolic significance, given the weight of the members, given the weight of the countries involved, that the fact that we're able to meet in this configuration and take collective positions is in itself its own message. So let me not treat that as a light outcome in any sense of the word. We will, of course, be hoping for an endorsement of the need for Security Council reform. I think that is an important issue that we will hope to certainly pursue in the discussions in whatever form. This is becoming an important year in the calendar of multilateral discussions, given the ongoing and the ongoing discussions in the UN in terms of the post-2015 development agenda, in terms of developing sustainable development goals. So those items will certainly also come up for discussions. This is an important group of countries with significant interests in all of these. So this too is an area. You have, a moment ago we heard about the question from Mr. Venkat Narayan about the BRICS Development Bank. I mean, this has been an important element of discussions which we hope will be carried forward. There should be something perhaps in terms of an outcome we hope on export credit guarantees. I mean, there are a variety of things that are under discussion, but as I said, the most significant thing about BRICS is the fact that these countries meet in this particular configuration. So that's what I would like to underline. Thank you.
Naz?
Actually, can you give us a sense of how, if when this development bank comes into being, how India is going to use it for its development? Must be some roadmap.
The idea of a development bank which would be outside the framework of the Bretton Woods system is something that in fact came out of the New Delhi summit of BRICS in 2012. We are still at the stage when we are negotiating it, so I wouldn't want to speculate on what roadmap there will be for utilizing it, but I think the general assumption is that it will be a development bank which will be available to provide concessional credit to members of BRICS, if they should so wish, and to other developing countries. That's the logic of the proposal.
Mr. Chandrasekhar?
After the decision to establish the bank in Durban, what has happened on the bank? Has its headquarters been finalized, and what is the capital? All that.
As far as I know, all aspects are still being discussed, are still under negotiation.
Srinjoy?
So, the host country has told our ASL that before the meeting with President of Brazil, India has a choice. PM either gets a ceremonial welcome or a breakfast, not both. Now, what have we chosen?
I think you should have asked the question to the Prime Minister, but the simple fact of the matter is I think we will, as you said, that ASL team has come, we'll go by logistical convenience. As I mentioned to you, a large number of people want to meet PM amongst the Latin American leaders who are going to be present there. So it will be done basically on convenience of timing. And I have my belief is that we will probably go to the presidential palace where PM will have a reception and will have his talks. Because my own impression is that PM is more concerned about substance than basically form.
Dipanjan?
On a common fund, meeting the current account from all 5 countries to create a fund.
That has been under discussion. That there should be a fund that the countries should be able to draw upon, exactly for this purpose that you said. In the event of a liquidity crunch, they should be able to draw upon. This too is an idea that is under discussion.
Is there any move from the BRICS countries to take a common ground in the WTO for the next round? I mean, is that a part of the agenda?
I think matters relating to the WTO will certainly come up for discussion. I think it's a little premature to assume that there will be common ground, because I think each one of us has a particular posture, a particular position that we take in Geneva. So I wouldn't say that there will be a common outcome in that sense, but certainly there will be discussion on WTO matters.
Yes, ma'am. Navika Kumar. Here.
On the sidelines of the BRICS, is there a bilateral meeting with the Chinese president, and what can we expect from that particular meeting?
Okay. It's normal for Prime Minister to meet other BRICS leaders. Therefore, we are working on a schedule of meetings for the Prime Minister with other BRICS leaders. That schedule is not yet complete, but you can be rest assured that certainly there will be bilateral meetings with other BRICS leaders in Brazil. Anyone else? If not, the floor is then open for any other questions that any of you may have on any other issues. No, not the same people.
That's unfair.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Sir, what is the status of Iraq evacuation process?
Yeah. Let me try and summarize for you where we stand on what we term as the facilitation process of Indian nationals in Iraq. That facilitation process is focused on those in two areas. The first area is the non-conflict zone, which is largely in the southern part of Iraq. In that part of Iraq, I had mentioned to you previously, we have placed mobile teams, now of 6 persons each. These mobile teams have gone to the areas of work, that is in Najaf, Karbala and Basra. They have collected all details of people who would like to leave, and it is our advice to them that they should leave. It's also our advice to them that in any case, if any of them do not have some problems in terms of paying back for their tickets, Government of India stands ready to pay those tickets. Also, we are ready to provide assistance in terms of those who may have contractual problems that may delay their departure. Based on that, our assessment is that approximately 2,200 Indian nationals have, in some form or the other, indicated their desire to leave. Of these, 600 are those who have been provided tickets through the facilitation of our mission in Iraq to depart. 600 have been paid by their respective companies. In addition, approximately 1,600 are being provided tickets by the Government of India for their return from Iraq to India. As you are aware, since developments during the last 48 hours, we have also had meetings to calibrate our approach in this regard. And you have seen that since yesterday, the momentum and the pace at which Indian nationals are returning from Iraq has speeded up. Yesterday, we had an Air India flight which brought approximately 170. Also, a Iraq Airways special flight which brought approximately 200 people from Najaf to Delhi. In addition, tonight, Iraq Airways flight this is a normal flight from Baghdad to New Delhi. That flight is also being diverted to Najaf, and it will carry back 117 Indian nationals who will arrive here approximately at 2:30 a.m. Also, within the next 36 to 48 hours, 2 other special flights will be flying in to New Delhi. These are from Najaf tomorrow morning. The flight starts at 11:30 there, and it is expected around 6:30 in New Delhi. This will carry approximately 200 Indian nationals. Also, another flight will take off from Basra. This will be the first special flight from Basra. That flight will carry 286 Indian nationals from Basra to Delhi. We are also processing approximately documents for another 200 plus people, and it is our hope that in the next 48 hours, all the 1,600 who had wanted to return to India on Government of India tickets will be back in India. The 600 who are being paid for by their respective companies, several of them have already come back. The others are even as we speak, on commercial flights from their respective areas in Iraq to India. These people are from Hyderabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, and Mumbai. These are the flights to which we are bringing in people on commercial flights. For those of you who may think that why commercial flights are being used, let me tell you, Iraq currently from Baghdad, there are 10 commercial flights every day to different points in the Gulf. So we are utilizing all that is available in terms of commercial seats. Where they are not available, we are bringing them through special flights using Iraqi Airways. With that, we would be able to complete the process of bringing back most of those who have wanted to come back. That said, we are also doing what we thought is a due diligence exercise, because approximately 486 telephone calls were received by our control rooms here as well as in Baghdad. Based on those calls, we are responding to each of them, and we hope to clarify to them either that the people they want have come back or do not want to come back. These are both options. Ultimately, it is a judgment call of an individual, and it's for that individual to take that call, although the Government of India stands ready to assist them in every way possible. Also, at the beginning of this exercise, when we started the control room, we used to get about 60 to 80 calls. Today, we are down to 4 to 6. That indicates to us that the level of anxiety, the level of concern has reduced considerably. That is partly because we have responded, partly because those who have wanted to come out are either coming out or are in the process of coming out, and the others perhaps have been able to communicate to their friends and relatives that they seem to feel that the situation does not warrant their coming back. That's about the areas in terms of, and as I said, that's the areas in terms of non-conflict zones. And our intention is, as part of a calibration of our approach to the security situation and assistance to Indians in Iraq, to divert the resources that are freed up from this quick facilitation process into what is an extremely difficult situation in the conflict zone. You are aware there are a limited number of Indian nationals there. I will not get into the numbers because even if there is one, that is one too many. And therefore we are focused on those aspects. We are working through, as I have said previously, the front door, the back door, as well as the trap door. But I also want to tell you, I see a new genre of journalism coming out these days. I don't know what to term it, because sometimes I see new characters who never were in the picture sprouting out and claiming all sorts of views on that. My request to you is, we have been informing you of the developments every day. Please be patient and work with us. We are here to provide any response that you want. I think with that, I will close this interaction unless any of you have any other specific questions. Yes, ma'am.
Just any other specific details about William Hague and Osborne's visit? I mean, what's happening in Mumbai tomorrow after they land?
Well, what I can try and give you is a feel of the bilateral part of it, where there are likely to be meetings, A, with the External Affairs Minister, B, with the Prime Minister. In addition, there are also separate meetings that have been requested for Mr. Osborne with his counterpart, that is the Finance and Defense Minister. That is being worked on. As regards the meetings with the External Affairs Minister, the focus, as you are aware, is on bilateral trade and economic ties. India and the UK have a trade relationship which is approximately $15.8 billion. The trade is in favor of India. It's approximately 9.8 or something Indian exports, the rest being UK exports to India. There will be a discussion on that. Apart from that, you are aware that we have a strategic partnership. So there will be aspects that strategic partners discuss. Counterterrorism would be one area of discussion. Also, there will be discussion on issues of an international nature when two foreign ministers meet. And if you are interested in that, there certainly will be discussions on Iraq as well as on the discussions between P5+1 and Iran. Yes. Please wait, I will answer.
Total, how many mobile team in Iraq?
We have in 3 locations mobile teams, that is, 4 locations. Karbala, Najaf, and Basra. In addition, in Iraq, in Baghdad, although we have an embassy, there is a mobile team. These mobile teams are broadly in those 3 areas, that is Karbala, Najaf, and Basra. We have 6 members each in that mobile team. In Karbala, perhaps you are aware there was a curfew, so there were difficulties in getting exit visas for those who would like to leave from there. But since then, that curfew has been lifted yesterday, and we hope that some of those people flying out from Najaf will be those who are from Karbala also. They will be bused from Karbala to Najaf and then fly out from Najaf. Yes, Dr. Akhilesh Suman.
Sir, as you have told that you are also looking into the contractual engagement of the people who are coming from Iraq. Does it include whether they are being paid by their employers or not?
Dr. Akhilesh Suman, the issue of labor relations is much vaster than this. You are aware that in that region, labor relations are an issue. At this stage, we are not there to resolve all labor relations or to restructure the relationship between the employer and the employee in Iraq. What we are doing is that in case there are difficulties for somebody to be released, we will try and work with the employer to ensure that the person who does not want to work there would be released. That, of course, would entail still going by the contract. And if that contract has some liability, the employer will perhaps invoke it. It is for the employee to decide whether they would like to return on the basis of existing contracts. Of course, we will pay for the cost of return. However, there are other obligations in a contract, and in a contractual relationship, it will be up to the employer and employee to work this out. We can only facilitate, and that is why we've been calling this entire process the facilitation process, unlike the language that some of you are using. Yes, Santosh?
कॉमन फंड की बात की थी तो ये सर जो लास्ट ईयर ब्रिक्स हुआ था उसमें भी अपना $100 बिलियन के फंड की बात की गई थी. ये सेम फंड है या दिस इज द एडिशनल वन?
जी, जिसकी मैंने चर्चा की ये वही फंड है, उसी की बात कर रहे हैं.
So with that we come to the end of this interaction. Thank you very much for being here on a holiday.